안녕하세요, 안타키입니다. Welcome to this edition of Let's Speak Korean. Now, let's say hello to our Korean language instructor. 안녕하세요, 지승현 선생님.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요, 지승현입니다. We have a great lesson in store for you, so please stay with us. 만나서 반갑습니다.
Now, in our last lesson, we learned how to make a polite request when we are in a formal setting or when we're talking with people that we're not too familiar with. Now, let's get a quick review. 선생님, when you're in a formal setting, how would you ask someone politely to sit down?
앉으십시오. You can say that.
I see. All right. We can say 앉으십시오. Right? Now, in the same situation, how would we tell someone to do something in the future? Well, this is what we're going to be learning this time. So let's go and take a look at the clip first.
이영기 씨는 이번 주말에 뭘 할 겁니까?
집에서 쉴 겁니다. 마이클 씨는 좋은 계획 있습니까?
저는 이번 주말에 등산을 할 겁니다. 그리고 다음 주에는 제주도에 놀러 갈 겁니다.
그래요? 저도 다음 주말에 제주도에 갈 겁니다.
와, 이영기 씨도 제주도에 놀러 갑니까?
저는 출장을 갈 겁니다.
Now, Michael and his colleague Lee Young-gi are talking about what they plan to do in the upcoming weekends. Now, Michael says that he's going hiking this weekend, and next weekend he plans to go to Jeju Island. Now, is Lee Young-gi also going to Jeju Island? Well, yes, but he will be going on a business trip and not for pleasure. Right, let's get a check of the expressions in this lesson then. We're going to learn how to talk about events that will happen in the future using 을 겁니다 or 을 겁니까 when we're in a formal setting or when we're talking with people we're not too familiar with. Now, let's start off by going over some new vocabulary that we will need to learn the expressions. Please repeat after 선생님.
등산을 하다. 등산을 하다. 출장을 가다. 출장을 가다. 음식을 만들다. 음식을 만들다. 소설책을 읽다. 소설책을 읽다.
Well done. Now, here's the clip, so let's find out how these words are used in everyday conversation.
이번 주말에 뭘 할 겁니까?
집에서 쉴 겁니다.
이번 주말에 등산을 할 겁니다. 이번 주말에 뭘 할 겁니까?
집에서 쉴 겁니다.
이번 주말에 등산을 할 겁니다.
Now, how did Michael say that he's going to rest at home this weekend?
집에서 쉴 겁니다. 집에서 쉴 겁니다.
Now, Michael says he's going hiking next weekend. Now, what was the expression in Korean?
등산을 할 겁니다. 등산을 할 겁니다.
Both the expressions 집에서 쉴 겁니다 and 등산을 할 겁니다 contain the phrase 을 겁니다. Now, we use this phrase 을 겁니다 to turn verbs into their future tense. Right? Now, 선생님, we learned in an earlier lesson that we can form the future tense by using 을 거예요. Right? Now, what is the difference between these two forms?
Well, actually, both expressions are in the future tense, but there is a little, very little differences. Well, 을 거예요 can be used in non-formal settings to talk about the future, and 을 겁니다 can be used in more formal settings, or when we're talking to the person that we have just met or are not familiar with. When the verb stem ends in a consonant other than 리을, we add 을 겁니다. If it ends in a vowel sound or a character 리을, we add 리을 겁니다. The only thing is we get rid of the character 리을 when the verb stem ends in this character and add the character 리을 plus 겁니다 to the verb stem. Okay, let's have some examples. So, 등산을 하다 becomes 등산을 할 겁니다. 음식을 만들다 becomes 음식을 만들 겁니다. And 소설책을 읽다 becomes 소설책을 읽을 겁니다.
Now then, let's practice using the vocabulary that we learned earlier to practice using the expressions 을 겁니다 and 리을 겁니다.
등산을 하다. 등산을 할 겁니다. 출장을 가다. 출장을 갈 겁니다. 음식을 만들다. 음식을 만들 겁니다. 소설책을 읽다. 소설책을 읽을 겁니다.
Now let's try coming up with questions asking about events that will happen in the future. Now all we have to do is add the word 가, remember? Now let's repeat after 선생님.
주말에 뭐 할 겁니까? 주말에 뭐 할 겁니까?
We're now going to use all of the expressions that we have learned up to this point to practice asking and answering questions about events that will happen in the future. Now, 주말에 뭐 할 겁니까?
등산을 할 겁니다.
주말에 뭐 할 겁니까?
출장을 갈 겁니다.
주말에 뭐 할 겁니까?
집에서 음식을 만들 겁니다.
주말에 뭐 할 겁니까?
소설책을 읽을 겁니다.
It's time to learn some extra expressions now. Now, how did Lee 씨 ask Michael whether he had some good plans for the weekend or not?
마이클 씨는 좋은 계획 있습니까?
Now, we ran into the expression 좋은 계획, which literally means good plans. Now, 좋은 being good and 계획 meaning plans. Now, let's try saying this for yourself.
마이클 씨는 좋은 계획 있습니까? 마이클 씨는 좋은 계획 있습니까?
It's time to review the expressions that we have learned up to this point. Now, let's go over the expressions one by one along with the clip.